Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. My name is Max Hampshire. I'm a commercial customer advisor at Amazon Business UK, specifically specializing in tail spend and indirect spend. The focus of this webinar is to highlight challenges and opportunities for procurement leaders in the context of returning to work after the pandemic. As well as running through some data and initiatives on how we can optimize costs, we're going to hear firsthand from our customers, Sandeep and Nazira, global sourcing managers from the ICL group, to walk us through their journey. Sandeep and Nazira, great to have you here. Welcome both. So, in the last couple of years, due to the COVID pandemic, we've seen some really unprecedented shifts on where and how people will work. And even as vaccine rates accelerate and we return to the new normal, there's an overwhelming sense that some of these changes, such as flexible working, are definitely here to stay. And anyone slightly inactive on LinkedIn will have seen countless figures and statistics on how organizations are responding. And it seems that this is going to vary on a company basis and even on an individual basis. But for me, the really interesting data point is from a recent CBRE poll showing that 40% of organizations still have no plans to return to the office at all, with most creating some sort of hybrid or flexible working strategy, balancing working from home and working in the office. I think, however, your organization is intending to move forward, this shift has created a critical need to digitize existing procurement processes to improve operations on the one hand, whilst driving efficiency and cost savings on the other. In reviewing the data and talking with our customers, there are some clear focus areas for purchasing leaders trying to achieve this cost optimization in the post-pandemic world. Firstly, optimizing your supply chain, so reducing the number of suppliers and building strategic relationships with those existing suppliers. Secondly, modernizing and digitizing procurement processes, so driving up that efficiency and that execution speeds. And thirdly, making smarter buying decisions to minimize costs overall. Now, there's obviously many ways you can begin to focus in these different areas. And if you are looking to improve, one of the most important metrics we discuss with our customers is this total cost of ownership. This put simply, if an item's slightly cheaper on face value, but it takes 3 days to get there, you're contracted for more volume than you need. You've then got to log and store the items and now potentially ship it to your employees' homes. The money you've saved on that item is lost tenfold in administration, delays, double handling costs, before even looking at reconciliation expenses. Gartner's cost optimization playbook outlines that procurement leaders are actually starting to take a much more holistic approach, taking these factors into consideration and measuring their overall spend rather than just evaluating these savings siloed on individual purchase price. This method of delivering value to companies is becoming the most popular way to drive cost savings, and with procurement leaders evaluating the full cost of logistics, management, and reconciliation, they are able to address the changing sourcing needs of their employees and customers while still achieving their cost saving goals. Gartner defines this strategy as cost optimization. It's a business focused, continuous discipline to drive spending and cost reduction while maximizing business value. In short, procurement leaders now look at the total cost of ownership and strategically balance growth versus cost cutting to get the most value out of their spend. To do this effectively, procurement teams should ensure two things. Firstly, that the savings and cost cuttings they're doing hit the bottom line and don't drive up costs in other areas, such as administration. And secondly, that the short-term savings don't impair critical capabilities to ensure that you can fulfill current and future customer expectations. To achieve this balance, the Gartner's cost optimization playbook recommends focusing on 3 initiatives to drive the strategic cost optimization. 1, operate better. 2, drive process efficiency. And 3, transform capabilities. When working with our customers through this, these initiatives work most effectively when delivered in conjunction. On the one hand, you need to create the immediate cost savings for the short term, whilst building better processes and capabilities to sustain long-term cost competitiveness moving forward. So I'm going to dig into each one in a bit more depth and outline some suggestions on how we do this. Firstly is operate better. Traditionally, companies would drive cost savings by reducing the price they pay for items through negotiation or moving that spend to contract to get some level of volume discounts. There's always going to be space for this in procurement. However, we're seeing procurement leaders evolve beyond just this and deploy initiatives to optimize costs by eliminating waste and improving efficiencies. One key way of doing this has been in driving compliance and purchasing across the organization. So, especially in tail spend and indirect spend, there's no point negotiating the best price for a product if the second that contract's in place, your staff buy it from an alternative supplier because they couldn't get it when they needed it, or they didn't have it in stock. Procurement leaders should consider how they can create the path of least resistance for their staff to get what they need without sacrificing the price. This is going to be especially critical with the changes coming from working from home and shipping to multiple addresses, supporting your staff flexibly. I've worked with a lot of customers to drive things like ring-fence storefronts and self-service portals where staff can request the items from a preferred list. They can get what they need next day, whilst the procurement team still have complete visibility of the spend, control of the price, and can manage that streamlined. Another method to operate better is keeping control of the extraordinary costs. So really diving into the detail of the other costs involved with purchasing significantly, expedited shipping costs, late payment terms, all these things that add up, and then factoring these into the P&L forecast to allow you to continually remove that non-value added spend across your organization. And then finally, a bit of an odd one is competition savings. So where there's transparent pricing between suppliers, competition often results in a price or service adjustment to win that business. Very simple on a marketplace model, but also achievable outside of that as well. Secondly is reconfiguring internal processes and networks. So once you've captured that immediate cost saving, organizations should look deeper into where they can optimize costs. And there's a significant opportunity to create these savings within the purchasing processes themselves. Activities such as supplier consolidation will have a tremendous impact on removing administration from onboarding the suppliers, especially in the tail spend space, but also combining your spend to take advantage of these economies of scale. The time savings from your team can be reapplied elsewhere, such as deploying category management, where you can have cross-functional teams categorize spend into segments and manage them much more strategically, and identify new sourcing approaches to reduce the cost for each category, as well as reduce the risk when purchasing within them. And thirdly, transforming capabilities. This is by far the most powerful tool to optimize costs within an organization. The main focus is really being about deploying digital strategies to automate manual and routine processes across the organization. This is going to remove administration, provide you and your team with clean insights on your spend and how to continually cut costs whilst improving operational effectiveness and increasing growth potential. This will remove administration, provide you and your team with the clean insights on your spend and how to continually cut costs, whilst also improving your operational effectiveness and increasing that growth potential for the business. The simple example I shared earlier around the self-service ring-fence store typically saves on average around 18 hours per employee. Guiding your team to the right item, automatic approval workflows, logging and tracking that spend automatically and being able to assign it to the correct cost center. All of these small features remove administration for different teams across the organization and give you that better insight into your spend. It's a very simple to implement example, but additional opportunities such as digitizing how you analyze spend or integrating your ERP and PO systems can massively drive those savings, time savings and operational savings across the team. These tools will allow your team to execute work faster. You'll have better visibility of that spend, but most importantly, it's going to give your team time to focus on those more value-adding strategic tasks across the business. Also, collaborating with business partners is critical. Once you've got that clear view of your total cost of ownership, you can have much more strategic discussions with suppliers on trends, buying behaviors to adapt budgeting strategies and prices moving forward, very tailored to yourselves. And when putting these initiatives together, what we've seen is that organizations that deploy digital technologies realize significant returns. According to Gartner research on the companies that are doing this, there's a 54% increase in spend visibility to give you that insight into your spend, 47% reduction in execution speeds to ensure your team are working faster, combined with a massive 21% improvement on saving rates. So actually driving those cost savings as you saw fit. So ultimately, your team will deliver more effectively for less money, and you've got oversight to continue that trend moving forward. Shortly, we're going to listen to ICL's experience, who are working to achieve this performance and insight with Amazon Business. But first, I'm going to briefly introduce Amazon Business. Now, most people are familiar with Amazon, but not so familiar with Amazon Business. And a lot of the CFOs and CPOs I talk to aren't even aware their organization already has multiple accounts with us. So very simply, Amazon Business is a purchasing solution that sits on top of a business online store. Very similar to Amazon, it's a one-stop shop for every business purchase item you'd need, and the marketplace model offers a broad selection, cost comparison, but also has better business pricing. Now, on top of that store is a digital purchasing solution with the integrated controls, group structure functionality, business analytics, invoicing and credit lines, as well as integrated solutions with finance and ERP software. With little to no upfront costs, it's a brilliant tool for our customers to gain insight into their spend, especially this sort of tail spend and periphery spend we often see, but also to use those automated tools in Amazon to build budget approval workflows and drive this cost optimization we've discussed by managing all the spend effectively and efficiently. With these tools on the platform, our customer advisors work to understand the customer's procurement objectives and their challenges. We use the insight into the data from the account, as well as the tools and the marketplace model to align Amazon Business with their objectives. We create digital purchasing solutions based on their structures and policy to reduce their total cost per order and drive process efficiency across the business. We also combine tools with some of the more traditional Amazon features, such as next day shipping nationwide, to ensure employees have what they need next day to work optimally, even if they're working from home or remotely, no matter what. To see this in practice, I'm very happy to introduce a customer that I've worked closely on this journey with, helping consolidate and optimize spend by partnering with Amazon Business. So I'll introduce Sandeep and Nazira from the ICL group, and I'll hand over to you both.
We are
Sandeep.
and Nazira Kasim, Global Sourcing Managers with ICL Group. ICL Group is a leading global specialty minerals company that creates impactful solutions for humanity's sustainability challenges in the global food, agriculture, and industrial markets. The company employs approximately 11,000 employees and operates 49 plants in 15 countries worldwide. ICL's Global Procurement Organization, or the GPO, undertook global efforts to bring commercial and service excellence at the center of procurement activities by utilizing technology. As one of the initiatives, we plan to use Amazon Business in Europe to manage our tail spend. As part of this initiative, we have been able to implement Amazon Business in 11 operating sites in 5 countries across Europe. After a long drawn evaluation, Amazon Business fitted the bill with the right balance between traceability, control, and efficiency. When tasked with looking into a strategy to manage the tail spend in processing, maintenance, and equipment division, the analysis of the data yielded 2 conclusions. 1, numerous low value orders, and 2, what seemed to be ridiculous delivery times for basic items. With this information, we approached our internal customers, and these findings were confirmed. The requisitioner was frustrated at the often limited options for ordering such small value but important basic items. This was due to the fact that we used aggregators who often placed a premium on these items, while the buyer was frustrated with the sheer volume and effort it took to create and process such low value orders. A basic online search for some of these painful items quickly opened up the option of an online marketplace. Amazon Business was operational in our region, and after some initial groundwork, both internally and externally, ICL was able to put in place some basic buying internal policies and controls, and we managed to kill 2 birds with 1 stone in introducing the Amazon Business tool for low value buying at our European manufacturing sites. The requisitioners were thrilled as they now had the buying power for basic low value items in their hands with quicker turnaround times and greater satisfaction, while the buyers were relieved to be rid of the tedious task of creating small value orders. This in turn led to further improvement in our order transaction process, with the finance team also reducing the time spent on order processing and having a simpler process to pay such small value orders.
And it is very interesting what Max mentioned about the levers that from the Gartner's reports. We at ICL have been trying to implement one or more of these levers that was talked, and that's where Amazon fitted in. It's interesting to mention the context because in a mining and industrial setup like ours, controls and efficiency are equally critical. And Amazon Business have been able to deliver both for us. Uh, it is helping us improve engagement with end users as site. On one hand, because it's empowering them as site, and on another, it's helping us with the access to data analytics from the Amazon Business Tool, which in turn is helping us address the tail spend management more strategically. Using the analytics tool that we just talked about, we are able to determine categories where we can leverage Amazon Business and where we can actually even create outline agreements with some of our existing suppliers too. I would say that we have been able to achieve some great benefits by using Amazon Business. Uh, if I just try and list that down, from a process perspective, it has resulted in quick turnaround, as Nazia just talked. Uh, in terms of cost of the transaction from the PR to pay, as we typically call in the procurement terminology, we have been able to reduce around 50 to 60% of the transaction cost using Amazon Business Tool. Faster and on-time delivery is a definite plus. Whenever we talk about Amazon, that definitely comes as one of the benefits, and that's actually replicated very well in the business aspect of Amazon too. Another important benefit has been the real and quick spend visibility via the analytics tool dashboard. In terms of success factors, because that's very important for anybody who is trying to implement Amazon Business, there have been some groundwork. And as Nazir has also mentioned, that internal stakeholder alignment has been one major area that we try to work on in terms of trying to understand and manage expectations with our stakeholders. Uh, Another thing was also trying to early engage with all our stakeholders to ensure that the Amazon business setup is very much aligned with our internal processes. And that's a very amazing thing which Amazon business comes up with, because you can customize the business setup which and try and align it with your internal processes. And that's what we try to do as well. Here again, trying to emphasize more on the Amazon business setup. This has been a very critical path because if that needed to be done rightly, when I say business settings, I would say, let's say things like right setup approval workflow, credit lines, user groupings, and also selection of product categories. Uh, on top of everything, one of the another parameter has been a communication internally as well as externally with our Amazon's stakeholders, like Max has been. So overall, I would say that from Amazon Business, we at ICL see great benefit in using it for our business tail spend, and we see more and more of our colleagues getting onboarded within the same sites where it's been already implemented, or even implementing more sites across Europe. We have the visibility that Amazon Business has brought in, and therefore we are able to expand to more categories, try to get the benefits across more categories. From a punch-out integration perspective with our ERP, I think that is the next milestone for us in terms of integrating better with Amazon Business, because once we are able to do that, it will be possible for us to bring in inventory products into Amazon Business, and that will expand the gamut of the benefit that we can get from this product to a much bigger product set. Thus, in a nutshell, I would say that has been a great, fruitful journey so far, and we look forward to make it even more worthwhile. And together with Amazon Business, bring in quite a lot of efficiencies for our tail spend that we do.
Yeah, thank you, Sandeep and Nazira, for sharing. Certainly look forward to working with you continually. And I think one thing that was really inspiring about you guys was how forward thinking you were in the industry, and certainly taking that journey on yourselves to drive that productivity, drive that cost savings, but in a much more holistic view. So to summarize then, obviously with new ways of working, if you're looking at procurement challenges or driving that total cost of ownership and cost optimization down, there's 3 key takeaways we'd like to leave with you. Firstly is operate better, so dig into the detail and understanding where you can drive that immediate cost savings without sacrificing operational excellence. Secondly is streamlining your processes to remove administration, providing supply chain continuity and help your organization operate in a much more agile fashion. And finally, and I'd say most importantly, is transform your capabilities. So automate, integrate, have that total visibility of this spend, take your control of your spend. And if you'd like to find out more about that with Amazon Business, please see the link on this presentation, or I'm sure you'll find us on Google. And if you are considering rethinking how your organization buys and adapting to flexible working solutions, I'd recommend reaching out to a designated Amazon Business customer advisor like myself to really understand what we can do to achieve and align with your objectives. And as you can imagine, it's something we've worked quite closely with across the last year and a half. So thank you very much for listening, and hope to hear from you.